welcome everybody to tonight's Projectiology book club session. As per usual, I was going to remind people, if I saw that, we have the reminder for the forum every time. I don't know about anybody else. I've not been on the forum at all. I would really like to encourage everybody to perhaps use the WhatsApp group to make some comments, just share some experiences, say hello every now and then, just so we stay in touch with each other and also maybe help each other stay motivated and on focus around reading Projectiology. So we're not going to have a poll today. We're having some, as you probably all know, if you've been here before, we're having some technical issues with the polling software, so we'll try and work that out and have that again next month, because it keeps us, again, sort of helps us to kind of keep tabs with where we're at. But today we're going to jump straight in, and I'm going to introduce our two presenters today, who will be talking us through the various chapters about the vehicles of manifestation of the consciousness. And today we've got Regina Chud from Germany. Regina has a background in business administration and mediation. She's currently working as a project manager of an e-learning platform for medical professionals. She volunteers at a palliative care unit where she accompanies terminal patients during their desoma process. And with Conscientiology, she's been volunteering since 2007. And is currently working with the translations of the course, One More Year of Intraphysical Life Technique. She's been a Conscientiology teacher since 2016 and is a member of the Invisible College of Pacifismology. All right, Pacifismology.
That's right.
Peace, studying peace. And then we've got João Murayama, originally from Brazil, now in Brisbane, Australia. João has a educational background in environmental chemistry and worked for 9 years at the University of Sao Paulo as a laboratory technician. He used to be a volunteer with the IIPC from 2006 to 2019. And as a Conscientiology teacher, he started in 2010 and also to 2019. And 2019 was when he relocated to Brisbane. So welcome, Regina and João, and thank you, and let's go.
Thank you. It's good to be here. And yeah, should I share the slides? Jump right into it?
Yep.
All right, guys. So, could you see everything?
Yep.
All right. So today we're going to talk about the holosoma, right? So we hope that this will be a great session with a lot of questions and a lot of experience. This should not be a lecture, right? As I think it's a very, very complex topic. And so we are looking forward to have a debate, to exchange about some topics that you might come across in the Projectiology book while studying the topic. And I think it's a very, very interesting topic. And I think you can never stop studying during this life and beyond, right? And the first part of the presentation, João is going to present, and yeah, maybe we can jump right into João.
Okay. Oh, thank you, Regina. So yeah, let's start. Okay. Well, the first slide, it's a question. What is ego? Well, to start, what is the meaning of ego? So this word is come from Latin. It's meaning I. So basically, it's about each person or each individuality. So in psychology, ego is a part of consciousness of the mind. So it's responsible for our thinking and our understanding. So ego is relation with our identity, so our personality. So it's very unique for everyone. So everyone has different personality and quality, a set of qualities. So what is ego for each one? That's a good question because we need to think it every day, because every day we have a different manifestation, different situation. So who we are on a regular basis. Okay, so all right. Regina, please, next slide. Sorry. Sorry. Just a minute. Sorry, you can come back. I will tell. Yes. So ego, based on the projectiology, and they approach for three basic capacities or faculties. So the first one is cognition, is related with our perception of our memory, of our knowledge. The second capacity is about our affection, how we express our emotion, our mood. So how we can express our sentiments. And volition, that is related with our action. When you decide to do something, so as in very powerful, when you have something you want to do. So usually is known as a will. I'm reading this. And this next slide is there is three classification based on the Freud theory. So the first one is ID, it's based on our instinct. The second is the ego, what we will think about our awareness. And the superego is related with our moral and related with society. On the left picture, we can see an example that the first situation, the ID, the people think I'm hungry, so based on the basic instinct, so we think it's a biological thing, so you need to surprise this thing. But in the ego is explained, but I'm in the middle of my presentation, so I can't leave now the presentation, go eat and forget everyone the presentation. That's the superego contrast, because the superego is related with the moral of society, the values. So there's a different situation in each one. The people need to understand better and what we can do, because we are human, so we have some basic instincts. So, but at the same time, we are a super complex in terms of evolution. So, but at the same time as well, we live in a society. So, in different situation, we need all the time we need to deal with this happening. And the Freud,
sorry, João, I was just going to ask, is there a way your sound earlier was better than it is now? I don't know if there's a way you can get your microphone closer or...
okay. Is you can hear me now better? Oh, no.
Yeah, even that's better. Even that's better, yeah.
Okay, sorry. I didn't
closer.
know that. All right, sorry. So, yeah. So, the Freud make an analogy. So, the ID is like a horse and the ego is the rider. So, we need to control our instincts and to deal with at the same time the moral of society. All right. Next slide, please. So the next slide is talk about self-awareness. What is mean self-awareness? When people try to understand better their behavior and what we can do about this. it's like a self-research, because I think one of the key points is on the conscientiology paradigm. I think it's on a regular basis, it's a powerful tool because we can understand our reaction, what we can do, or about what you're feeling, what you think. So self-awareness is a way you become more conscious about our actions. It's interesting that the self-awareness, because when you have this kind of approach, it's a kind of opportunity to understand better yourself and try to give it change, try to make change. So on a regular basis, we have different situations and different interaction with different people and different moods. So self-awareness is a way that you can understand better our evolution process. And when you can understand better who we are, we can become more confident about our behavior, our interaction with other people. So from my point of view, I think it's one of the key things to we can improve our evolution process. And what is the benefits to understand, to go deep in self-awareness? So we can have improve our moods, because depends on the day or maybe on the weather. We can change our moods, or depends on interact with different people. So how we can react with different situations. We can improve our communication, because based on our thoughts, our feelings, we can improve the communication with different persons. And productivity as well. And because you can understand your traits and what's your which traits you have more confidence, or which traits we can improve. So I think it's a powerful tool in terms of evolution. Next slide, please. All right. So as you can see, we are in an evolution process, which means it's super complex, because we have different influences, stimulations. So based on the consciential paradigm, we have 4 different vehicles. That's the way we can study better and how we can interact with different situations. So we call the holosoma. Holo is neologism that holo is written from the Greek is all, then whole, the entire set, and soma is the body, the way the vehicle we can manifest. So we have 4 vehicles. The first one is the soma, our physical body, biological body. The second one we have the energosoma and the other chakra, and our main energy points. And the psychosoma is our emotional body, and the mental soma is our mental body. Okay, next slide, please. Next slide. Oh, thank you. So we are based on the projectiology. we put more focus on the lucid projection. I share with these three books with the different authors because my intention to show you that it's not only conscientiology is studying the phenomenon of projectiology. So in the first book of the left on the left, there is another author called Robert Monroe. He's American, and he has these abilities to have the out-of-body experiencing. In both his book, he tried to explain how we can develop techniques to improve the phenomenon. The second book is the author is Waldo Vieira. He's Brazilian. He's the proposer of the Projectiology. And the same way, he tried to have a more technical approach, a more scientific, because that phenomenon that you can reproduce and based on some techniques, so you can improve, you can understand better the multidimensionality. And the other book on the right is the author is called Albert Procol. He's a British biologist, and he started to write about his experience as well, and try to show people how you can develop some techniques, we understand better other dimension that the consciousness can manifest. Next slide, please. Okay, the next slides, I like to make a relation the lucid projection and the human body. So, what's the importance of human body or our first vehicle? That you can stay here in the intraphysical condition. So the premise to evolution premise that you need to know how to look after of your body, how to keep it healthy, have a good eating healthy. Well, so it's not our focus of this presentation, but to understand how the lucid projection and the human body has a connection. And next slide, please. In the next slide, I would share another researcher. She is a psychology graduate student from Canada, on University of Ontario. So she has good skills to develop the out-of-body experiencing. So based on her will, she said he can do the voluntary out-of-body experience. So as you can see, it's very new. This research is from 2014, and which means there is no nationality or different people from different cultures can develop this phenomenon. And what's of the benefits when you develop this phenomenon? Okay. But the relation and when the researcher would like to show, once she had the experience of out-of-body experience, and she had some different images and then functional magnetic resonance imaging. So the idea, just to have an overview, she showed that when she has the phenomenon on the left hand of her brain is more active, has more activation. If you compare when she was not doing the phenomenon out-of-body experience, there are different activations. Okay. Well, to talk about the lucid projection in the human body again, there is a gland, the pineal gland. I will read the definition. Pineal gland is of endogenous secretion with the extremely well protected at the center of the human brain. Another gland of endocrine secretion, of which, however, it is not a part enclosed between the two cerebral hemisphere atop of the spinal column. So this pineal gland is very unique because there is no duplication if you going to study the brain, the brain. So you have just
He has frozen.
He seems to have frozen, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if Regina wants to talk a little bit of pineal gland while we wait for João, or we can talk. Yeah, I can, while João is not here, talk a little bit about what I read. And it's interesting, this pineal gland also, because they said that could be also, it's a hypothesis, that's where the silver cord, that is the one that connects our body to our psychosoma, you know, this, that could be the local where the silver cord, when it's our body's like coincident, is the place where the silver cord could be. So it's interesting. I found that so interesting. And like João also said, it's unique because it has no duplication. And it has studies about lots of others research, like Indians people that is studying as it was, you know, all parapsychic phenomena that they related that, like the third eye. So that is also interesting because they make a connection with parapsychism. I don't know if anyone else wants to say anything about that pineal gland while João is not here. We all read the book, so.
Yeah, sorry guys, I come back. I had some technical problems with my internet. I don't know why, but I come back.
Okay.
Thank you, Magali, for supporting.
You're welcome.
So yeah, just to talk about the pineal gland, it's responsible to secrete the melatonin. And the melatonin there is an influence about the circadian rhythm and the REM cycles as well. And, okay. Next slide.
Sorry.
Thank you.
So you're. Sorry, I can't. The next slide you said, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, sorry. Because sometimes your voice is little bit low. Maybe you can talk a little bit louder. For me, at least. I don't know about the others.
All right.
Before when you move closer to the microphone, I think, or you move forward, João, that seemed to help.
Okay.
You move forward, yeah.
It's better now.
If you lean forward, yeah, I think it's better. But also letting you know that you're almost halfway through the time between the two of you to share. So
okay, all right. So yeah, this one my next slide. but I think I'm pushing. Well, this slide is about the extraphysical examination. Well, I read the definition. The sample of information obtained by the projected intraphysical consciousness from an analysis of its physical body, projected psychosoma, or the vehicles of manifestation of the intraphysical consciousness, the human body, holochakra, psychosoma, and mental soma, the constitutive condition, or even the analysis of the psychosoma or of the extraphysical consciousness. And based on this example of the phenomenon, I think there's a way to understand better the multidimensionality. And it's a way to overcome the thanatophobia. So yeah, in terms of multidimensionality, you can understand we doesn't have just the physical body. So you can improve our maturity, and it can understand better our evolution process. Thank you, Regina. I think your turn. Thank you.
We cannot hear you,
Yeah,
Regina.
Sorry, guys. Okay, I think we know this this state, right? The holosomatic coincidence. So all of the bodies are in line. This is our normal waking state. This way it is defined in the Projectiology book. And this is what we call our normal life, so to speak. But in the last sessions, we already talked a lot of altered state of consciousness, for example, and this sometimes also has to do, sorry, with the discoincidence of the vehicles of manifestation. So, sorry, I have some technical problems to go to the next slide. So, all right, because sometimes it comes to that the vehicles are in discoincidence in certain circumstances, so to speak. And in the Projectiology book, there are three different types of discoincidence mentioned, and they talk about the mini discoincidence, the maxi discoincidence, and the soma. The mini discoincidence, one example, for example, could be if we think of traveling clairvoyance, where the bodies are in a small discoincidence. Max discoincidence could be, for example, the lucid projection, right? Another occurrence is, for example, during our sleep. I don't have a picture here, but I think a lot of people of you saw already the status when the body is sleeping and the other vehicles, for example, the psychosoma and the mental soma, they are not in line, they are in a discoincidence. And during this sleep, for example, we all know and we experience that we recharge our body during this discoincidence. And another discoincident, a major one, is the dysoma, where the vehicles separate from each other. I will not go deeper in the dysoma because this is another another huge topic, and I think in Conscientiology we study that also. People who are interested in that there is an invisible college studying this topic in depth related to the dysoma process, and it's a very multifaceted topic that we can study more in depth. And I think it's an interesting one as well, because thinking and studying the desoma, I think it could help to also accelerate our evolution. I'm related to the beginning when I was introduced, and there is this course that we have in Conscientiology, 1 more year of intraphysical life, and dealing with a desoma, not necessarily only the process related to the holosoma per se, so what is happening during the desoma, for example, but we can think about the desoma in order to organize our lives, to focus and to see what is important for us in this life, in this manifestation. The holochakra, or we also call it energosoma, but in the Projectiology book, which is a very early book in Conscientiology, they're talking, or Waldo Vieira is talking about the holochakra. Nowadays we are talking about the energosoma, but I want to put here both of the terms, just that are people not confused if they are reading this term, right? And we also put a definition here. What is the holochakra or the energosoma? So it's the vibratory and energetic, luminous, vaporous, and provisional envelope. So this is something, maybe the first part of this definition we can think about, and I put here a kind of scheme of energosoma, because some people that have clairvoyance, for example, they could perceive this energosoma. And therefore, I think this is really a very important definition to characterize the energosoma. And in the second part of the definition, the silver cord is mentioned. Magali was talking already about that. And I think in the next session we will have in November, we talk more in detail about the silver cord, for example, because this is a very special topic as well. But it's linking, the silver cord is linking the soma and the psychosoma. So it's the connection we have there. And it's a kind of intermediary, energetic agent. And I think this is very important to think about when it comes to the energosoma, because for me, we have several approaches in order to study it, or to try to visualize it, because for sure, despite of the energosoma, the aura that we can see, there is nothing that we can really visualize it very well, right? And I often like to do this analogy that we have in the how can I say, in nature. If you think about a mushroom, for example, mushrooms in the earth, for example, they really mediate between certain trees, for example, and they are like a kind of sponge in the earth, right? And in these mycelium, there is a lot of information going back and forth between trees, for example, and other plants, for example. And I think in that sense, we can try to imagine the energosoma, the holochakra, that it intermediates the body, and that it really energizes the physical body. I think one can really see that well if a person, for example, is going through this desoma process and has his first desoma. So in our day-to-day life, we say a person is dying. You can really see and perceive that the energosoma is separating in this process from the physical body, and you can really perceive and see it. So the body which is left, and then we call it dead, is not vitalized anymore, and you can really perceive that. And going to the how can I say, to the para-autonomy of the holochakra, we can think of the chakras, the separate chakras that we listed here. And it is really a program for your whole life to study all the chakras and how to deal with the chakras, how to improve the function of the chakras. For example, this spleno chakra is very important to absorb and to distribute the energy through within the body, for example. So this is a very important one. But all the chakras you can see here, which are only main chakras, have very important function in order to vitalize the body. And also, if you think of the health of this energosoma, it's very important to to work out this this vehicle, right? So related to the chakras, I like to think of this analogy. So I think every one of you knows these worlds that we have in water, for example, and I'm sure that you already saw something like that, and you can really perceive if you put something in this world, depending on the direction of this world, it's pulled in or it's going out, right? And like this, we can think of a chakra that is absorbing energy from the environment, for example, and vitalizing the human body. And for sure, Conscientiology is not the only line of knowledge studying that. There are a lot of other cultures, for example, studying that. I just put here this picture of meridians, for example, and people that study, for example, acupuncture, study that also in depth in order to see where can I put a needle to help or whatever. So Conscientiology is not the only one studying the energetic body. And I think more and more it comes also to for example, people in medicine, for example, that they really get more and more aware of this more subtle body, and also that there are illnesses that are more related to this energetic body. For example, one part in Projectiology is talking about the looseness of the holochakra. If you think about a person or people that you meet in your everyday life, I think we all could perceive that there are people that are more close, and we perceive them as a little bit more rigid, for example, and that there are people that are more flexible. And this flexibility is not related to the soma. I'm not talking about that, but also about their thinking, about their attitudes, about their energetic status. We sometimes talk about this. They have a certain aura, for example, and in that sense, we can think about this looseness of the holochakra or energosoma. And what I found here interesting was this free operation of the energetic parabodies. So the more we work out this vehicle, the more we can loosen it, and the more we train it also to have lucid operations with this energosoma, because for sure we all have operations with our energosoma, but sometimes they are not very, very lucid, I think. And I put here just 12 factors that help with the looseness of the holo chakra. And for sure that are not my factors. I took them from the Projectiology book. What could help with this looseness and how to help to get more loose with one's own energies. For sure, I think Waldo, Vieira, and in almost all our courses, we talk about the vibrational state, that this is very, very important in order to work out the energies, existential projection and lucid projection. And I think this is the main topic of projectiology, right? To study the phenomena and to loosen the energosoma in a willingly way is very important for the ability to project the consciousness out of the body. And of course, there are several others. I don't want to go through all of them because we don't have the time for that. But I think it's really interesting to revisit this in order to have an idea how to help with the looseness of the energosoma. For sure, I don't think we have a lot of newcomers here, but the vibrational state is what we put here to raise our frequency in the energosoma in order to have this vibration, and which is also a possibility to protect and to get rid of, for example, an energetic intoxication, for example, and it's also a protection, for example, against intrusion, and it has a lot of other benefits. So I just want to encourage to study that more in depth, and not only studying, I think, to exercise it, to do it is a really important thing in order to help with the looseness. Then we have the topic of the human aura, and the human aura, as I put here, is the visible part of the energosoma. And I'm not sure if this is your case of everyone, or if some of you already tried to see the aura. I can recommend the book, and we put this also in the resources in the end of our presentation. I only have the German version here, but it's the book of Rodrigo Medeiros. It's about the Paravision, or Clairvoyance, it's also called. And there are a lot of exercises where you can try to perceive the aura and to see it, and not only in human beings, like it said here, but you can also see in animals and plants and so on. So this is the part that some people see around the physical body. And we put here a picture just to illustrate that this perception could be really quite different, related to the status quo of the human aura. Some people perceive it in different ways, like you see here. For example, like if you are not in a good mood, if you're ill, for example, or if there are other circumstances that have a huge influence of this on this human aura. And here's some characteristics that you can perceive related to the aura. It's the density, the color, for example, the format, also the size. And the luminosity, for example, I heard some reports that people see, for example, that if someone is in a good shape, in a good mood, and maybe also, how can I say, a bit a more evolved consciousness, which already is a step ahead related to his evolutionary process, it might be perceived as a luminous, a vibrant, a healthy aura that people can perceive. And sometimes, of course, you can also perceive the other way around, that a person enters the room and you have this impression and you see that this person doesn't have a healthy aura. But maybe also next time, if you see the person, it could be quite different, because this aura is also, how can I say, connected to our holothoughts. So it's related to our thoughts, for example. And so if you perceive a human aura, it's like a kind of, how can I see it? It's like a kind of a photography of the moments, so to speak, in which the consciousness is. And another topic I think is very important is how to help with that, and how to contribute to a more healthy status of our energosoma, of our holochakra. And here are some mentioned, and for sure I think this list is not, it's also taken from the book, but it's not the end of the list. And I think it's very interesting to think about what is my favorite resource, or my favorite point which could help me with my holochakra, or what keeps my holochakra healthy, or could improve the health of my holochakra. And if you think about the whirl, the vortex that I was showing you, for example, absorption of the environmental energy, I think that's a very important topic, which caught my attention, because if we go to an environment that is healthy, for example, walking in the forest, which is also put here, that helps a lot to refresh the holosoma, and especially the energetic status that we have. But there are a lot of others, and yes, this is something I would not discuss here in depth, and maybe we can take this to the discussion that we will have later, in order to see what is the thing that I like to contribute. Another topic is the rhizoma and pre-rhizoma. So it's two states, not going deeper here in the definition, because I think it's our time is running out, right?
Yeah, there's a couple more minutes, Regina.
Yes. Is the way, if we have the intermissive period, so what we call, we go to the next rhizoma, so the reincarnation, so to speak, how this is constructed in the holosoma in order to have a new intraphysical existence. And there's also an invisible college within Conscientiology studying this more in depth. And I would like to come up with another analogy when we think about our evolutionary process and going from rhizoma to desoma. You know, I think we already discussed that in several sessions before, and you know this picture maybe, so that we go with time through certain, and many rhizomas and desomas. So we come to life, we leave life, and it's a continuous process of evolution. And in terms of holosoma, I like this analogy of maybe in the beginning here, we start as a fiddle. If you think this is as an analogy for our holosoma, and during this evolutionary process, we develop ourselves, our own holosoma, into a Stradivari. So the question would be, and I maybe would like to discuss with you later, is how can we support this process to come to a Stradivari? And I also would like to recommend a book I put here in English, but this is also something existing in, in German as well. And it's talking about the 9 months of the rhizoma. And what I found interesting related to our topic is that the 2 authors of this book, they accompanied pregnancy, and they used lucid projections. So they were talking to the consciousness that will reincarnate, and as I remember right, also to the becoming mother. And I thought this is an interesting thing, that thinking about that we as lucid projectors also can maybe come up with some more information about this rhizoma process, while maybe being able to accompany a consciousness in this process. In this book, for sure, this is only one case, and not one case is like the other, but I think it could be interesting to read for having a better idea of this rhizoma process, but also maybe for mothers to come in this intraphysical life, so giving birth to a consciousness that will have an intraphysical existence. So I think that could be an interesting thing to read about this metamorphosis. Like it is said here, not only the metamorphosis of the consciousness that will reincarnate, but also the connection between the mother and the consciousness that will come to the intraphysical life. Yes, I put that here. If you want to go deeper, you can revisit other books, for example, the Conscientiogram, because in the Conscientiogram, there is a whole part with a lot of tests and ideas so that you can evaluate your own holosoma and all the separate vehicles. So it's much more in detail, like we have this here in Projectiology, but Projectiology is another huge topic, which for sure one part is the holosoma in relate to the projection of the consciousness. And also I saw that in the description of the recording, there are a lot of resources that you can revisit. And if you just see this recording afterwards and have no chance to write something down or whatever, so you go to the description below and you find a lot of links and resources there. Yes, this would be a presentation for now, and we would love to have an exchange with you guys that you read the book and have ideas and experience. I'm sure you have a lot of them. And completing this, sorry, one sentence, completing this topic of holosoma in the next session in November, we will talk about the other vehicles of the holosoma, as I said, for example, the silver cord, but also the psychosoma, the mental soma, silver cord, and golden cord, I think, and a lot of other interesting stuff to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Regina and João. And we're going to do a couple of things. So we're first going to go into breakout room for breakout rooms. So we'll be in groups of 3 or 4, I'm not quite sure. And we can have a discussion within that group, and then we'll all come back together and we can have a group discussion, and you know, maybe our smaller breakout room discussion will already inform some questions and so on that we want to ask. So there was a lot of really great and sort of inspiring topics and so on that were raised. So in the breakout room, you know, one thing to talk about would just be anything that spoke to you, that really got you thinking, that got you, you know, motivated in the presentation that we just had, and sharing that with each other. And the other is another topic you could discuss is your personal experience of your vehicles of manifestation, with a particular focus today was on the energosoma and its relationship to the soma and altered states of consciousness. So yeah, have a, you know, experience, sharing some experience might be easier in a smaller group. How that shows up in your daily life, how conscious you are of your use of your vehicles in your personal evolution, and anything else that relates to your own lived experience of your energosome in particular, but any other of the bodies that were touched on today. So I think Magali is going to divide us up.
I will divide us in, we can be 3 or 4, I will divide us in 3 people per room. So I'm starting it now, okay? Okay, bye.
Thank
Thanks,
you very
everyone.
much. Goodbye.
Thank you,
you,
guys.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.